I want to share with you a secret. I have been living as a mother of 4 children for years in a very messy home. And I remember when I was living in Tush, my husband made a pact with me when our children were still very little. And he said he learned from one of his mentors, you can do both. You're either a very good and calm parent, or you have a very organized and spick and span home. And he wanted me obviously to choose the former, like to really be present with our children and not to worry about a messy home. And obviously, while living in Tosh, this was an enormous undertaking for me, because in that community, when you don't perform, when you don't have that spick and span home, you feel like a failure, because that is what is required of you as a mother of children. You're supposed to do it all. Otherwise, you're considered like you're incompetent, right? And when I moved, it was really, really, really hard, because I had to pick up the pieces after a lot of trauma, and obviously I could not focus anymore on keeping the house tidy. So things piled up, things got very neglected. And basically I kept home in the best way I could, but there were always like boxes and clothing and bags and stuff like that. And as long as I knew where to find my stuff, I was fine. Like, I didn't mind the clutter, because I knew that I saw the bigger picture. I knew that I cannot do all, and I need to focus on what is actually priority for me and what is actually really, really important, which is to be present with my children. So the spare time that I had, I used for self-care rather than making my house spick and span. So why am I sharing this? It is a source of shame. For years, it's been a source of shame, right? Hence my nice background that you can see here. Covering everything up. Like, I try to protect myself from the humiliation, obviously. I don't invite people to my home because it's too messy. And why am I saying this? Because I remember as a young woman, I heard like, people always have a secret. Maybe you don't know the secret, but nobody can do it all. Nobody has it all figured out all at once. That's impossible. If your focus is on one area of your life, another area of your life will be somewhat neglected. So I was really happy that the things that really matter to me, that's something that I'm paying all my attention and effort for. So the real lesson that I learned today, because I did some cleaning today, like spring cleaning, and I really enjoyed realizing how much of the habit that we have to blame ourselves. This habit of blaming ourselves is so much in the way of our progress. And obviously, you can't blame yourself for blaming yourself either, because this is something we were programmed with when we were still little. Like, if as a child you feel like you cannot be yourself, there are things that you have to perform in order to be approved of, in order to be loved, in order to get the care that you need. Even if it's not your parents who say like you have to be a certain way, even if it's just that you feel like it's a lot of stress in the house, the parents are under a lot of stress and you don't want to burden them. Any kind of way that you have internalized as a child, that when something goes wrong, you're supposed to do something about it, can very often result in blaming yourself, because it's kind of a way that our brain keeps us in check. Like, oh my goodness, you did this wrong already again, and now your parents are going to be even more stressed, or whatever it is. So again, blaming ourselves stands very much in the way of our progress. And how did I see it today? Because I had tremendous help in the last few weeks from a coach, and it changed my life drastically in a lot of ways, with my relationships with my children, with my husband, because it gave me some key understanding of everybody's personality. And that actually helped me to be able to delegate and to be able to involve everyone in the cleaning, so it doesn't feel so impossible and so stressful to do it all alone, because that's really a recipe for disaster when you try to do it all on your own, right? And basically, the bottom line is, you cannot change what you don't accept. If you blame yourself for something instead of meeting yourself where you are, it's an impediment. It really keeps you stuck in that problem. Once you accept yourself, you understand yourself, whatever you've been through has influenced your life in more ways than you might realize. And even if you don't understand why you're a certain way, just understanding that you deserve acceptance and love, that opens up a way for new brainstorming of making progress. And by progress, I don't mean that suddenly from one day to the other things are going to be fixed. It's really a process. So allow yourself to go in that journey of just putting in a little bit of effort at a time, not trying to do it all at once, and constantly reassuring yourself it's not your fault. Blaming yourself is ignorance. It's not seeing the full picture, how this happened for you to be this way. If you allow yourself to let go of the self-blame and you accept yourself exactly how you are, you will see how much you can get achieved in the most wonderful ways possible, because once the gates are open, you're also less ashamed to ask for help. Because when you blame yourself, you're right away going to feel restricted and like you can't tell anybody, right? Because it's such a source of shame. But the moment you allow yourself to love yourself just as you are, which is also something that we need help with. You know, we need to surround ourselves with the people who love us for who we are, so we can learn how to love ourselves. And to find those people is also not easy. You know, we need to ask for that help, like to find good people. You got to put yourself out there, and that takes a lot of courage. So give yourself a break if you don't feel ready today to do that. Just a little bit of effort at a time can make a huge difference, and you're going to get there in the end. But the most important thing, remember, it's not your fault. Thank you for listening. I hope this helps.